Awesome. Jake, thanks so much for coming down today, mate. Appreciate you showing us some of the stuff behind CA and how it makes it amazing. I'd love to talk about the technologies quickly and how the arenas do achieve 3,500 metres. Tell us a little bit about the altitude and the technology behind ATS and what they do for CA.
Yeah, so as we saw before, it all starts with the equipment, and basically we just get compressed air, so outside air, we compress it down, clean it, filter it, and shoot it through a nitrogen membrane. So that nitrogen membrane is just hollow fibres where it captures the nitrogen molecules and then lets the oxygen filter out, and then at the end you're left with a reduced oxygen air, which we then dump into the rooms.
Yeah, wow. It seems like a massive process, but also really a simplified process when you see it all in action.
Yeah, it really is quite simple. I guess the tricky part behind it is all the electronics that have to keep it working, but it's quite a simple process.
Yeah. And the systems themselves, they're pretty intelligent in the sense of it'll recognise a few things when it's providing a room or a place to achieve altitude. Can you let us know sort of what's in place and how it does sort of know the arenas are getting to 3,500 metres?
Yeah, so in each arena will have an oxygen sensor and a carbon dioxide sensor. So the oxygen sensor is the main sensor, and there's a comparison for you guys. Like you might pump in 13.5% oxygen, which correlates with your 3,500 meters, and so that's what we use to turn the system on or off. Toggles on and off, and then the carbon dioxide sensor that just monitors the carbon dioxide levels in the room, because obviously when you're exercising there's a lot of carbon dioxide being inhaled, so if it starts to creep up, the system will swap from pumping in altitude air and we'll go to fresh air just to lower those levels and make it a bit easier and nicer to breathe.
Yeah. We get a lot of our members, our All-Stars, talk about the difference between what real altitude is versus simulated altitude. Can you tell us just in your own words the difference between those two altitudes?
Yeah, so the actual benefits don't differ. You'll get the same benefits at natural altitude and simulated altitude. The difference is obviously here we're at sea level, so it's the pressure that we won't have at sea level, whereas at natural altitudes you also have the actual pressure of being up high working on you at the same time. But in terms of the physiological adaptations that are going to happen in the body, it's identical.
Yeah, well,
because that relies on oxygen.
So good. I like to describe it as the good stuff about the bad stuff.
100%. Yeah, and the fact that you don't have to deal with the pressures of being at natural altitude means there's no risk of altitude sickness down here, because it's not the low oxygen, it's actually the pressure differentials that cause altitude sickness.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of our members also ask, how safe is it training in here?
Oh, it's extremely safe. So like I mentioned, that you're not going to have any of the bad effects of training at natural altitude, such as altitude sickness. And the levels that we produce the altitude air at are very safe to breathe. So we'll only ever produce at a minimum of 10.5%. And that's well above the safe level. So if there is ever a malfunction and the rooms keep climbing, it won't ever climb anywhere near to be harmful to anyone. Yeah.
So CA obviously brings a range of benefits when people are training here. Can you sort of talk us a little bit through the biggest benefits that you've noticed when training both people and yourself at altitude?
Yeah, definitely. So the big benefits, I guess, are just both aerobic and anaerobic, so it doesn't bias one. But basically just your fitness levels increase, so increase VO2 max, which means you can train harder for longer and recover better. Lactate buffering as well, so you can just clear the burn. So if you're doing something aerobic or even in the gym, like you'll just be able to clean the metabolites a lot quicker. And then also the post burn after the sessions as well. So it just elevates the fat oxidation after as well. So bit for everyone there. I'd say altitude training basically compounds whatever training you're going to do at sea level. So it just gives you that extra edge. It's going to make that session slightly harder, but you're going to also get those effects and then the benefits quicker.
So we have the altitude in the arena. Can you give us a bit of an insight on some of the best benefits that you've both seen when you're training here, when you're training others at an altitude training facility? What are some of the greatest benefits of training here?
Yeah, so training in altitude basically just makes your sessions that much harder. So it's actually easier on your body. on your joints and your muscles, but internally your heart and your lungs have to work that much harder because of the reduced oxygen. So then you're going to burn more calories, and then after the sessions as well, you're going to have that increased metabolic rate for longer as well.
So now understanding at CA how all the oxygen and the altitude works delivered into our arenas, can you give us your top benefits that you've seen, both training and then also delivering ATS products to clubs like us?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess for general population, what we've seen is obviously an enjoyment in a workout, getting to utilise a tool that's normally reserved for elite athletes, but also, you know, we're all on our own journeys, but basically seeing the increased weight loss and the increased caloric burn after is what most of the gen pop are after, as well as just general fitness. They're gonna feel better and move better. And then also for the athletes as well, that's when you might be chasing those 1-2% performance gains, so they'll be able to, you know, increase their VO2 max, faster recovery rates, and improve their muscles' ability to clear lactate.
Yeah, and I always see the benefits of even just greater energy throughout the day, a greater sleeping experience, cognitive development too. Just people seem to have a lot more energy, a lot more focus throughout the day as well.
So one of the key benefits of altitude training is increased capillarization. So it's laying down new blood vessels in your muscles, but it also lays down more blood vessels in your brain as well. So there is the cognitive benefit that comes from altitude training as well, not just the muscular. Yeah.
Brain power.
Brain power.
That's what everyone wants.
Yep.
So does ATS have a story? How has it been inspired to produce these amazing altitude systems to deliver to the worldwide? And has it evolved over the last decade? Yeah,
so it definitely has evolved. So we started dabbling in altitude probably 15, 16 years ago, and our parent business, they were, you know, compressing air and generating gas for other industries, mining, engineering, food and beverage, and they realised that they could take what they were doing there and use the same technology and deliver low oxygen air into a room and simulate altitude. So a lot of the directors back in the day were all avid cyclists, and altitude training is huge in the cycling realm. So they sort of kind of went hand in hand, and they noticed a hole in the market and went for it.
Oh, awesome. Technology itself's got a little bit better. We've obviously noticed even at CA with the years gone by, you know, systems are getting more efficient, getting smaller, getting faster flow rates delivery into the rooms.
Yep.
So I guess with everything, get more effective and more efficient over time.
Yeah, definitely. So over time, all the equipment has improved as well, become more efficient at compressing the air, you know, conserving energy as well. And obviously us being able to include sensors at different parts of the whole system, so we can keep tabs and on how the system is actually functioning as well.
Wirelessly too, right? That's a big one for us, is, you know, we can be home and controlling that system, seeing the trends, seeing the logs.
Yeah.
Exactly what's happening.
Yep, so it's all done wirelessly these days. Back in the olden days, you probably had to come in an hour or two before your members or your athletes arrive, turn the system on and then wait. But now you can just jump on your phone in the morning and turn it on from the bed. Yeah.
So tell us, ATS doesn't just supply combine air. Who else does it supply in terms of sports, universities?
Yeah, so that was sports and universities were basically the first clients that we kind of got on board because they were doing all the research and they knew the benefits of it from the early days. So within Australia, we supply we've probably done about a dozen NRL and AFL clubs. So you know, the Sydney Swans, Geelong Cats, North Queensland Cowboys, Gold Coast Titans, and then we do a lot of the universities as well, the ones that really focus on the sport and exercise science degrees. So that's, you know, La Trobe, Deakin, Bond University. We've probably got about half a dozen of those around Australia. And then internationally as well, we've done many universities, commercial spaces, as well as pro teams. And a couple really cool projects is we've even built altitude chambers for horse trainers. So they're actually training their winning horses in altitude.
Amazing, down in Melbourne. Yeah.
Down in Melbourne, yeah. I think the 2022 Melbourne Cup winner trained at altitude, so yeah. And
what do you think of our first reformer Pilates space?
I think this is fantastic. Not only does it look good, I think combining the two is a very smart move. You know, you're gonna hit everything. You know, muscular adaptations as well as the cardiovascular benefits. So 2 in 1, knock it on the head. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Heart rate high while doing
Yeah, reformer, exactly. And it's great because reformer is quite low impact, and then you just add the altitude, and you've also, there you go, you get your heart rate up as well, and your lungs really working. So it's 2 in 1.
Yeah, I find it's just an absolute no-brainer because you've got the reformer market where they're generally coming in for strengthening themselves, but they'll partner their Pilates with something else, whether it be a higher heart rate or going to the gym or going outside for a run. But here, you can have a membership where you are hitting all those elements of fitness.
Yes,
and you see the
exactly.
results for that.
Yep, ticking all the boxes.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thanks so much for coming in today. Really appreciate you giving us the lowdown, the science from an expert at ATS. Appreciate you.
I appreciate it, Scott. Cheers, mate. It's been good.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Legend.